Hello everyone. In this session, let us understand experiment 5, which is the illustration of call and return instructions of ET51. To illustrate the working of call and return instructions, we shall take up a code conversion, which is hexadecimal to ASCII code conversion, and illustrate its working. So before we start off, let us first understand the need of call and return instructions. A set of instructions that we write is normally called as a program. In the program that we write, if we have some set of lines which need to be repeated again and again, instead of writing these set of codes again and again, we can write these set of lines away from the main program, and these set of instructions which are written away from the main program are known as a subroutine or a subprogram. A subroutine or a subprogram is a program written away from the main program, and whenever the requirement is needed, we can call this particular subroutine using a call instruction. So when a call instruction is encountered, the control passes from the main program to the subprogram or the subroutine. Subroutine will be executed, and the last instruction of any subroutine is the return instruction. Once the return instruction is executed, the control comes back to the main program to the line immediately after the call instruction. When the call instruction is executed, the PC, which is the program counter, normally points to the next instruction. That is, PC program counter always points to the next instruction to be fetched and executed. So whenever the call instruction is executed, the PC's address will be pushed onto stack. That is, the PC address is temporarily stored onto stack because this address is needed back by the return instruction to come back exactly. So this address is called as the return address. And when the return instruction is executed, the return instruction pops back this address into PC, and then it goes to that line immediately after the call instruction. So once PC value is pushed to stack, PC is loaded with the subroutine's address, so that PC, that is the program counter, comes to the subroutine, and then the subroutine is executed. Once the return instruction is encountered, the return instruction looks to the stack, extracts this address, the return address, and comes back to the main program. So in AT51, we have two types of call. One is A call, that is absolute call. The second one is L call, that is the long call. The only difference between the two is the range of which they operate. A call operates for a shorter distance, that is 2 kilobytes of memory, and L call is anywhere in 64 kilobytes, meaning to say your subroutine must be located within 2 kilobytes for an A call instruction to be executed. If your subroutine is located anywhere in 64 kilobytes, we can use L call. So in our programs, they are quite small, so we can use A call instruction itself to call the subroutines. Hope you got the idea about call and return instructions. So let's do the hexadecimal to ASCII code conversion to illustrate the operation of call and return instruction. So we know that hexadecimal characters which are there are from 0 to 9 and A to F, and their equivalent ASCII characters are, by now all of you know the ASCII values of 0 is 30, ASCII value of 1 is 31, ASCII value of 9 is 39. So just by adding a 30 to the digits 0 to 9, we can easily obtain their equivalent ASCII numbers. Next, the ASCII value of capital A hexa is 41, B is 42, so on till F it is 46. If we subtract 41 minus A, 42 minus B, etc., 46 minus F in hexadecimal, we are going to get 37. Meaning to say, by adding 37 to these characters A to F hexa digits, we can obtain its equivalent ASCII numbers. So can we say that adding 37 is equivalent to adding a 30 and a 7, so that we have the addition of plus 30 as common for any of the digits in hexa? Yes. So this is how we are going to do it in the main program. Now, what is important over here to be noticed is this reference point. So reference number can be either 9 or A, because the addition of 30 or 37 is changing at these points. Meaning to say, if I am taking 9 as the reference, any number greater than 9, we are supposed to add 37. Any number lesser than or equal to 9, we are supposed to add a 30. If we take A as the reference, any number less than A, we are supposed to add 30. Any number equal to or greater than A, we are supposed to add 37. So any one can be chosen as the reference. In this program, we are going to choose hexadigit A as the reference. So let's take up one ASCII hexadecimal number, let's say 4C. And there is no rule that we have to take one digit from 0 to 9 and the other digit from A to F. Any combination is fine. I'm just taking just to illustrate both plus 30 and plus 37. So the ASCII value of 4 is 34 and the ASCII value of C. So B is 42 means obviously C is 43. So this is the answer we are expecting from this particular number. 4C hexa is equivalent to 34 and 43 ASCII. Now let's see the logic to execute this program. 4C. The first thing is we are supposed to extract the most significant digit and the least significant digit. That is the process of unpacking. So all of us know how to do unpacking. So we have to take in 4C. To extract the MS digit, we are supposed to AND it with F0H. Anything ANDed with 0 gives a 0. Anything ANDed with F gives us the same number, so 40. But we need only 4 because the ASCII of 4 is 34. So we are supposed to do a swap here, extract 4. Next, take back the same number 4C. We now have to extract the least significant digit. So AND it with 0F. Anything ANDed with 0 is a 0. Anything ANDed with the F is C. And C, it's already in the right sense. So we are not going to do any swap. Now after we have obtained these two numbers, now we are, before deciding upon whether we are supposed to add 30 or 37, we are supposed to do a comparison with A as I told. Now here 404 is less than 0A. So since the number is less than A, what are we supposed to add? We are supposed to add a 30. Then we get back 34, which is one of the answer. And next compare C with A. C is greater than A. So we are supposed to add 37 to this. And we are going to get back 43 hexa, which is the correct answer. So this is the idea behind the comparison. So can you observe in this program, we are doing two comparisons. Because we have two digits here, we have to do two comparisons. Each of the comparison you will observe takes almost 8 to 9 lines of program lines. Or 8 to 9 instructions are needed for this comparison. So here if I am doing two comparisons, obviously we will need 9 lines written twice. So instead of writing it 2 times in the program, the two comparisons, we will just write it 1 time like the subroutine and we will call it 2 times. So that's the idea behind call and return instruction. Okay. Now what is a comparison basically? Comparison is always a subtraction operation in 8051. So what are we going to subtract? Take the number, comparing it A means subtract with A. That is, we are going to subtract A from the given number over here. So when we do the subtraction, so we may get 0 minus A, 1 minus A, etc. up to 9 minus A. This is one case. Or we may get A minus A, B minus A, etc. up to F minus A. All these cases, A is being subtracted from a lower number. So obviously we need a borrow. So we can say that the carry flag is set here. And all these cases, A is subtracted from a number equal to itself or greater than A. So obviously the carry flag is not set. So this carry flag becomes our reference. Whenever the carry flag is set, we are just supposed to add a 30 to the number. And whenever the carry flag is not set, we are just supposed to add 37, which is 30 plus 7 that we are going to do. So this is the idea behind the conversion. Hope you are clear with it. Take the number, unpack. So I think you all are clear with this step. Once you have obtained the two digits, MS and the LS digit, especially for hexadecimal to ASCII conversion, we are supposed to compare it with A because the ASCII numbers start changing once we encounter A to F character, hexadigits. So now with all this logic understanding, let's start writing the main program. So first thing, let us assume in this program that the given hexadecimal number is stored in memory location 9000H, so which is external memory, and let the results, that is 34 and 43, be stored in 9001H and 9002H. So since we are using external memory and that to a 16-bit memory address, we need DPTR as the pointer. So the first instruction would be making DPTR point to 9000H. So as usual, the first 3 lines of the code continue to remain the same. ORG00H, SJump 30H and ORG 30H. To skip the first 30 bytes of memory location, because that's where the interrupt vector table is stored. So the first instruction is initializing DPTR to 9000. So the instruction would be move DPTR comma hash 9000H. So let's bring this data into accumulator, that is A register. So move X, because it is external memory, move X A comma at the rate of DPTR. So contents of 9000, that is 4C, is now moved into accumulator. Now once you do the first AND operation and all this swap, have you lost this number 4C? Yes. Do you need it again for the second unpacking to extract the LS digit? Yes. So let's keep a copy of this data in a register, say R1. So move R1 comma A. So your data 4C is safe in R1 register. So let's start now. What's the first step? We have to AND the given number in accumulator with F0. So the instruction for ANDing is ANL and logical contents of accumulator with F0H. And we know that when any number begins with an alphabet, we are supposed to prefix it with a 0, so that microcontroller treats this as a number and not a label. When we AND it with F0, we are going to get 40. What are we supposed to do? We are supposed to do a swap. Once we have done the swap A. So we have 04 in accumulator. Now what are we supposed to do? We have to first check whether this obtained number 4 is less than or greater than or equal to A, hexadigit A. So we have to make a comparison. So as I previously told, instead of doing the comparison in the main program twice, we are going to do it separately in the subroutine. So we will write the subroutine now. Subroutine is written away from the main program. So I'll directly write the logic here separately from the main program. Then we will add call and return instructions to them. Okay. So let's start. What are you actually expecting after this swap? You have 04. We have to start comparison. What is comparison? Basically, comparison is subtraction operation, where we subtract A from the given number over here, or the obtained number after unpacking. And normally subtract instruction in 8051 is SUBB, and we start any subtraction instruction with a clear C instruction. So the first instruction is clear C, so that the previously affected carries are not affecting your subtraction operation. Now, so what are we supposed to subtract? We are supposed to subtract the contents of the accumulator with 0AH. So what are we doing? What do we have in accumulator right now? We have 04. I'm comparing with A, hexadigit A, by subtracting. So this is 4 minus A. When we do 4 minus A, we are going to, what are we supposed to check? As I told you, carry flag must be checked. If there is a carry, we are supposed to add a 30. If there is no carry, add a 37, which is 30 plus 7. So I am going to check JC. JC stands for jump on carry. If there is a carry, let's go to a step called label called next. And in next, let us add 30 to that particular instruction. So let's say next would come somewhere over here. But before that, if there is no carry, what are we supposed to add? 30 plus 7. But the addition of 30 is common. So it's just a 7 that we are supposed to add here. So when we are supposed to add, now when we have done subtraction, what has happened? We have lost the accumulator's content. So even before doing subtraction, the very important step is, let us store back this content that is received into R2 register. Let's say register R2. We have already used R1. So let's use R2 here. So we have stored the number 4 in R2. After subtracting 4 minus A, we are going to get some answer in accumulator which we are not interested in. Now we are checking the carry flag. In our case, 4 minus A comes in this range. So the carry is set. So this condition is true. We are supposed to jump to some port label where we add 30 to it. Now let's assume if the carry is not set. What are we supposed to do? We are supposed to add a 37. But adding 37, as I told you, we will be separating it as adding a 30 or a 7. So if there is no carry right now, we are just supposed to add a 7. How do we add 7? Accumulator's content is lost because we have done subtraction. But have we stored that copy in R2? Yes. Bring back that content first. Move A comma R2. Add A comma hash 07H. So right now 7 has been added, but the addition is not complete. Now we write this next label over here. Next. So if there is a carry, right now in our case there is a carry, what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to add 30 to it. But if you are adding 30, you will be adding 30 to the subtracted result. We want to add 30 to the digit 4, which is temporarily stored in R2. So just like how you did here, before adding you took back the number into accumulator. Before adding we have to take back that into accumulator and then add A with hash 30H. But now let's see where's 37 coming. So let's do 4 case now. The 4 minus A. In our case 4 minus A. Do we have a carry? 4 is here. 4 is compared with A. 4 minus A. Do we have a carry? Yes. So jump if carry to next. So it comes here. R2 is having 4. That 4 is copied into A. A is 4. 4 plus 30 is 34. And then we can end it with a return. Okay, we'll do that later. 30 is 34 is ready. Now second case C. So when you're comparing C with A, it would be C minus A. When you do C minus A, do we have a carry? We don't have a carry. So will it jump? It wouldn't jump. It will directly come here. It copies back that C into accumulator. C plus 7 is done. What are we supposed to do immediately after adding 7? We are supposed to add a 30 to it. So we want the control to pass from here to the step of adding a 30, which is unconditional. Unconditional means without any condition, means just write S jump, say some label L1. So we have to put L1 over here. So when we write this, it will first add 7 and then it will go to S jump L1 where it comes to this line and add 30. So 7 plus 30, totally it is adding 37 to this particular line. I hope you got it. So these are the set of lines which are needed for one comparison that we are doing over here. So right now, as I told you, we have done swap A. So we have obtained 0, 4. So instead of writing these set of lines 2 times, I have just written it away from the main program. I am going to call using A call instruction. So swap A has 0, 4. Now I will write here A call. Give a name to this subroutine. Let's call it as convert. And this subroutine, first line must start as the name of the subroutine, convert. Convert is a user defined name. So control comes here, executes all these lines. What is the last instruction of any subroutine? It is return. So when you give return, the control comes back to the line immediately after A call. What are we supposed to do after the return instruction? 34 is ready. Where are we supposed to store 34 in? 9001H. Where is DPTR still in? 9000. So what are we supposed to do? Increment DPTR. And then store back the result, move X at the rate of DPTR, comma A. Next, once this is done, we have to take the second lowest significant digit now. Where have we put a copy in? R1. Take back that data, move A, comma R1. What are we supposed to do? AND it with 0F. So AND logical A, comma hash 0FH. Do we need a swap here? No swap needed. Directly can I go to the step of comparison? Where have we written the comparison in? The convert subroutine. So what are we supposed to write here? A call convert. So the convert will again pass the control to the subroutine over here. Execute all those lines. That is C is compared with A now. And then you will get the final answer as 43. That will be in accumulator. And when the control comes back, we are supposed to store that in the next location. So we are going to repeat these set of lines again. Increment DPTR and move X at the rate of DPTR, comma A. So once we have done the storing, we can halt the program and end the program completely over here. Hope you understood the logic. Thanks for watching.